Why is it when people mention the words ghosts or spirits, most people want to change the subject almost straight away? Is it because most people don't want to talk about death? Is it because most people are too scared to talk about ghosts or spirits? Or is it because most people just don't believe at all? My name's Frank Humphries. Join me and Third Eye Paranormal Investigation team member Anthony Keeling as we take yet another step into the paranormal. So far this series we've invited 8 members of the public to battle it out against each other. 4 skeptics versus 4 believers. Now these are just your normal, average, everyday people. People who wanted to have their say. People who stood by their belief. This evening, myself and Anthony Keeling will go head to head without our public guests in our own personal battle to prove or disprove the existence of ghosts. Anthony's still very much a believer, and he says what you, the viewers, have seen so far this series is enough to convince all skeptic spirits exist. I, as a skeptic, simply say he's wrong, and there is a more rational explanation for what he and all our guests have experienced. See, the thing is, we as a human race mainly focus on the seeing is believing side of nature. And with this in mind, I want to ask all you believers out there, have you ever seen a ghost or spirit? For instance, if a person knocked on your door and told you they'd just seen a 50-foot disc-shaped object floating above your home, would you believe them? Or would you slam your door shut, put on your double bolt and think the person who just told you such a thing was a little bit strange? In my opinion, most people would almost certainly do the latter. Why? Because most people would have to see it to believe it. So tell me this, why do people believe in ghosts or spirits if they've never seen one? If you're a skeptic like me, you'll want hard facts. Not just a seeing is believing fact, but more of a group discussion between a ghost, a spirit and living human beings. Will this ever happen? In my opinion, no. Are you a believer and you think you can prove us skeptics wrong? Or are you a skeptic and you think you can prove to the believers there's a more rational explanation for what they are experiencing? If you want to join the Third Eye team and fight your battle on a future episode, then stay with us. Now coming up, we're going to take a look back at the battle between last week's guests.
We've asked for things to happen, nothing's happened.
If there's a spirit or a ghost and they want to show themselves and make themselves known, then they will.
Myself and Anthony will be discussing our final episode of the series.
I think we're going to walk away with more believers.
I will be talking with the owner of this evening's location.
That sort of history will leave some sort of energy behind.
And we'll hear what some of the locals have to say about paranormal groups and the seeing is believing side of the supernatural. Would you join a paranormal group?
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Are you a seeing is believing kind of person?
Yeah.
Now before I go inside and have a chat with team believer Anthony Keeling, let me first welcome you to this evening's location, the allegedly very haunted Skirrid Inn. The Skirrid Mountain Inn sits at the foot of the mountain after which it was named, in the small village of Lanfiangle, Crucrony, just off the A465 between Abergavenny and Hereford. Reported to be the oldest pub in Wales with a history dating back more than 900 years, the Skirrid has played host to many historical moments. In the early 15th century, Owen Gwyndor, Wales's most famous opponent of the English rule, is said to have personally rallied his troops on the cobbled courtyard of the inn before raiding nearby settlements sympathetic to English King Henry IV. Just looking at the front door of this fantastic building gives you the feeling that you're about to step foot back in time. Once inside, everywhere you look there seem to be reminders of the good and bad times that have occurred at the inn. Even the building's construction has a story to tell. The exposed oak beams and wooden panelling in the dining room have been carved from broken up ancient Royal Navy fighter ships. These wooden doors, along with the wooden window frames, are said to be from medieval times. And although not part of the inn's construction, this drinking vessel comes with an old folklore story. A story I'm sure the landlord would share with you if you ever get a chance to visit the inn. When you walk from room to room, there's always a new piece of history, but none more interesting than the story of room 2. Between the 11th and 17th centuries was a very dark time during the inn's history. The first floor served as a courtroom, handing out very harsh sentences to murderers, rustlers and petty criminals on a daily basis. But it is the year 1685 that will be remembered in the Skirrid Mountain Inn's gory history more than most. Why? Well, that was the year King James II ordered the trials and executions of 180 prisoners from the Mammoth Rebellion. Stories passed down through generations say many of the 180 prisoners were hung from this very beam, today known as the hanging beam. The judge said to have tried the men was no other than the notorious George Jeffreys, more popular known as Hanging Judge Jeffreys. There's no available documentary evidence to show that the infamous Judge Jeffreys ever sat judgments at the inn. However, he is said to have travelled through the area, and it is possible that on his travels he may have stopped at the inn and heard isolated cases if conditions so dictated. As the years went by, the courtroom eventually closed and life at the Skirrid Mountain Inn returned to normal. Today it is a friendly Welsh country pub and hotel, with present owner Jeff Fiddler and his wife Sharon organising many family, charity and sports events at the inn, which is open all year round to the locals and many visitors from all over the world. Well, there we go, Skirrid Inn. Possibly one of the oldest buildings the Third Eye team will ever investigate. The question is, will Team Believer Anthony Keeling be able to convince me there's any spirits here this evening? Well, let's find out. Anthony,
Hi, Bob.
welcome to Wales and the Skirrid Inn.
Good to be here.
What do you think?
Lovely building. It's definitely, like you say, it's one of the oldest that we will probably end up doing, and I feel that it's got quite a lot of feeling to it.
It's got to be the oldest building I've probably ever stepped foot inside, yeah.
There's a lot of history here, which is always good, I think, for an investigation.
So what about our last episode, Eden Hall? Do you think there was any spirits in there?
Oh, for sure, yeah,
You do?
absolutely. There's no doubt that there was activity going on, there was responses to things that we were asking.
You said to me you thought they were hiding. What made you think they were hiding?
I bring it up each time that at the end of the day, they're not there just to perform when we turn up at a location. It's not like we're going to see a show or anything like that.
Yeah.
This is the whole reality of it, that there are going to be things happening, but there's just as much where there isn't going to be things happening.
You kept referring to the name Roberts. On a previous investigation, a medium mentioned the name Roberts, so we stuck to the name Roberts, and you seem to be asking out for Robert to do various different things. Do you think you got any response?
There was the occasion when I asked for him to show himself where the noise came from.
Can you show yourself where that noise came from? Yes.
That can't be a fly or something, that piece of dust or anything, because that's actually happening on request.
You were in the apartment with Hayley Brown, our past guest from episode 4. What do you think of this young lady's investigation?
I think Hayley started to come out a bit more and just sort of say more and be a bit more throughout the night.
What are you thinking there, Hayley? Anything? Okay.
Not much going on. If there's a spirit or a ghost and they want to show themselves and make themselves known, then they will. So I'm hoping it was a spirit, so I'm going to ask if they can do it again. The longer I stayed in the room, the more comfortable I felt.
You were in the apartment with Hayley, and you heard some, what even I now at this moment in time can't describe what you heard, but it did sound like footsteps.
Yeah.
Can you make yourself known to us? That was definitely something there then.
It was like a footstep.
At the time, I didn't really chase that up much. I think it was more a case of like shock factor that we're hearing these things.
We've had a little talk about Hayley Brown. Sarah McLean. What do you think Sarah McLean's reaction will be when she's watched the footage?
As a skeptic, she won't be able to explain everything that's been going on.
We've asked for things to happen, nothing's happened. I just don't think there's anything in this room at all. Okay, there was a noise down there, but can you show yourself? Is it a light? Oh, got a light there. Nothing happens. There was nothing in the room that freaked me out.
She had things happening that she did not discuss in the vigil discussion.
Skeptics tend to dismiss things way too easily. It's like you were saying about Sarah, and the things that she was saying, and the things that she didn't say, more to the point.
Do you believe Hayley Brown will still be a believer by the time we get to our final episode?
Yeah.
Do you believe Sarah McLean will still be a skeptic when she gets to her final episode?
No.
Moving on, I want to talk about our final episode. I hope all the guests can join us, yeah? And we're going to have our past mediums. We're going to have hopefully some parapsychologists involved. We're going to have a lot of skeptics and believers in the audience. So we're going to have a good debate, a good discussion, and we're going to see exactly what all our guests have experienced. Do you believe that you can prove to all the skeptics that are going to join us on our final episode that what they've experienced, either as a viewer or as our guests, is supernatural?
I think we're going to walk away with more believers than what we went in with.
Now, we've had one email from a paranormal group, and this particular gentleman asked me to ask you the question: do you believe these locations, i.e. the likes of the Skirrid Inn, are charging too much money for the use of their building?
Some locations can do, yeah. Not all locations, but there are locations that charge too much.
People that are going on these investigations are torn apart by emotions, they have lost loved ones. Some of them are in it for the thrill, but the majority are in for answers. And I think it's time for the paranormal groups to start asking the locations to lower the prices so the members of the public who are going on these investigations can feel comfortable, and they will definitely go on more investigations because they can afford that extra investigation. So listen, you have a great investigation. We've got to walk through this location later on, so I'll speak with you a little bit later.
Look forward to it.
Okay, good man. Right, so there we go, Anthony Keelan's opinion. Now this is the time we usually dash out the door, jump in the car and set off to surprise our public guests. But that's not the case today. Instead, I want to have a sit down with the owner of the Skirrid Inn. I want to hear his story on why he decided to take on such an allegedly very haunted building. So here joining me now we have the owner of the Skirrid Inn, Jeff Fiddler. Jeff,
Hi Frank.
thanks very much for taking the time with me today, mate.
You're very welcome, Frank.
Good man. So Jeff, you've been here for how long?
10 years, Frank.
Did you know that this building was allegedly haunted or?
I didn't know much about the paranormal activity. I knew about its gory history. And I think that since I've been here, I think the paranormal has obviously sprung up from the legacy of that history.
Right.
I didn't know a great deal about the ghosts, I've got to be honest, but the history, I think this pub is known throughout South Wales really. It was a courthouse with summary hangings taking place here in the sort of 12th, 13th, 14th century. That sort of history will leave some sort of energy behind.
Do you believe that yet?
I very much I do. Not before I came,
Right,
but I
right.
certainly do now.
Tell me about room 1.
In 10 years, the only real malevolence we've ever had. A lady said she was pinned down while having a bath, but what made it intriguing was she said to me, she's trying to kill me, and yet she didn't see any figure. And I think most women or most people would say it or he has held me down.
Okay, yeah, naturally,
But
yeah, naturally.
she completely was convinced that a woman had tried to hold her down, and I think that's where the legend of Fanny Price, a former landlady here.
Some refer to Fanny Price as being a nice spirit.
She's more sightings. Or even smells, you know,
Scent.
like a grandmother's perfume, you know, lavender smells,
Yeah.
old-fashioned smells. If things are moved around,
Yeah.
she'll often show herself and things will go back to where they were. It's almost like she's saying, hang on, this is my room. We think she may have passed away in room 3. Right up until the 1970s, that was lived in by the proprietor. We've a cemetery not 300 yards from here, and it says on Fanny Price's grave, passed away at the Skirrid Mountain Inn in 1834 due to consumption, would certainly have been her room.
So she lived in the village, she worked in this building,
Yeah.
she died in this building,
Yeah.
and she's buried not more than 300
No,
yards away.
absolutely not.
Does that tell you that spirits could still be
Very
in this
much,
area?
very much.
Is there anywhere in this building that you don't like to go yourself?
Room 2. I'm absolutely, right to this day, I very rarely go in there on my own. That is a funny one because I've never actually seen anything in there, but the whole room frightens me somehow. I don't know why.
Could that be your human instinct?
It could well be, but it's also, even though the room 1 and 2 are literally joined together, they're parallel, there's a vast difference. You feel like you're trespassing.
You do a lot of paranormal investigations.
Yeah, we
in
do.
Skirrid.
When the public leave at 11:30,
Yeah.
many societies will then take over throughout the year.
Do many come away not happy with the findings?
Very, very few. But even when that happens, that doesn't in any way deter, because you can't call these things up to order.
So Jeff, you really believe that there's supernatural activity going on within this building?
There is definitely something going on here. I can't put my finger on what it is. It's extremely strange.
Is there any dark spirits here?
I'm never terrified, Frank, never frightened, but I am often unnerved. I think the spirits here are okay. They're not out to hurt anybody. They're not out to scare anybody. I think they're just stuck here.
Right, okay. Well, Jeff, listen, it's been great.
Thank you very much.
Mate, okay. So there we go. After working at the Skirrid Inn for over 10 years, Jeff believes the oldest public house in Wales is very, very haunted. More importantly, to you. Before we hear the eyewitness accounts of the alleged supernatural goings on within these walls, let's take a look back to see how all our guests have done over the past 4 episodes.
I don't think there's been anything that's definite, anything that's actually made me think, maybe. So I'm still a sceptic at the moment, guys.
Ever since we went into that first room, I've had this pain in my side, and it came on quite suddenly.
Nothing that has happened is a tiny bit convincing.
I think there has been stuff going on tonight, definitely paranormal activity. I still believe.
I did hear like a young girl's voice way in the background.
Paddy's been very calm about somebody coming up behind him. There's no one there and pulling his coat.
I'm not sure whether you heard that at all, but definitely heard something.
The human brain is an incredible thing and it can imagine things.
It's definitely something, yeah. So what I felt, I've 100%.
In his mind he's wanted to feel something so much that he's imagined it, I don't know.
If there's anything, show yourself!
Basically, you're going to have to give it a bit of time as well.
I mean, obviously I don't think there are ghosts here, but I don't think there are ghosts anywhere.
You've got to be at the right time, right place.
There is no communication going on from any, otherworldly spirits from what I can tell.
He's got his own opinion, hasn't he?
Talking to the dark, man. I definitely don't think there's anything paranormal here.
This night there's nothing happening, but another night it might happen.
I don't think just because you haven't seen it or experienced anything that it means that it isn't there.
We're standing here in the dark. We've asked for them to come forward and nothing.
Not everything you experience will be paranormal. You've got to be quite level-headed about it.
I come not believing and I'm going to go away even not believing even more.
I've certainly seen things that I think are paranormal.
I'm more of a sceptic than when I come.
One of our neighbours came in for a drink one evening and she'd drunk in there quite a lot, and she was quite shocked because she was sat by the fire and she said that she heard a whispering in her ear and somebody was calling the previous landlady in her ear and whispering her name. It hasn't happened again to her, but she was convinced that it happened that evening. She's been in often since but never encountered it again. When I enter room 2 I get goosebumps all over me, all the hairs on my hands just stand up. And I was up there one day making the bed and I had this smell of old-fashioned perfume just like my grandma used to wear, and there was a rustling of clothes and I turned around and I seen a fleeting shadow and my mood just changed. I went from being happy to sad straight away and I just can't explain why. Am I a sceptic or a believer? No, I'm a sceptic. I would like to be more of a believer, but I have not seen anything. I've only felt things. I've had a fleeting glance, but I'm wondering if that's my imagination.
The experiences that I've witnessed here at the Skirrid Inn, we did a psychic night with the staff one night. We sat in this room and we did the table tipping, big round table, about 6 of us sat around it in the dark. All of a sudden there's a big bright orange light that came through the doorway, which we then went and looked, and the fire had reignited itself after being out for at least an hour and a half, 2 hours. Another experience that I've witnessed that has stuck in my mind, when I'd gone up into room 1 many years ago in the dark, and as I opened the door there was a white figure led on the sofa. I thought maybe, being a young girl, that it was just a street light or a car light, but when you look out the window there is no street lights anywhere in this area. And after that I won't go in the bedrooms after dark. Am I a sceptic or a believer? I used to be a sceptic, but now after working here I'm very much a believer.
Well, as you just heard, our eyewitnesses seem to be very certain as to what they've experienced here. And what about our past guests? Well, their beliefs seem to be set in stone. But for how long? Make sure you watch our final episode to find out if any of our guests have changed their minds. Now, last week we were joined by psychic medium Karen Sherlock from the Wirral, Merseyside. Karen claims she was picking up on various energies within the Eden Old Country Hotel in Cumbria. But in my opinion, her ghosts or spirits just failed to turn up. This week, like back in episode 2, we've decided to leave the mediums out. Again, is this a wise decision? Well, I'm sure we'll find out later. Now, before I ever walk through the location with team believer Anthony Keeling, let's see what happened earlier when I spoke to some of the locals about paranormal groups and the seeing is believing side of the supernatural. Angie, really nice to meet you.
And you?
Thank you very much for spending the time with us here today, darling.
No
Yeah?
problem.
So, Angie, I've got a couple of questions on this sheet that I need to ask you. Yeah. So, I've got to mention, sorry by the way, Angie is a local lady. She is a member of the public, of course, but she also works here at the Skirrid Inn. So, you know, it comes natural for Angie to have a lot of paranormal groups come into the building. Yeah. So that's where you gain your knowledge from. Yeah. Would you pay to join a paranormal group on a paranormal night?
Yeah, I probably would come here.
Is it a good experience for you to see the investigations go ahead?
Yeah,
on the
most
groups,
definitely.
Right, okay. Would you become part of a paranormal group?
No.
Why not?
That sort of side wouldn't interest me at all.
You enjoyed the group coming in,
I
you
do.
have a good,
Yeah,
you
it's
probably
great.
have a good bit of
Yeah,
banter and
brilliant.
everyone has a good time,
But
yeah?
no, it wouldn't interest me too.
Are you a seeing is believing kind of person?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
so you would have to see apparitions?
Yeah, I do believe there is something definitely here. Definitely
You
here.
believe
yeah,
yourself personally,
Yeah, there's
yeah?
definitely here, but it doesn't affect me like a lot of people.
Have you seen anything?
I've felt it.
Right, okay, so you've not actually seen anything?
No, I
right?
haven't, no.
Well, Angie, listen, it's been fantastic speaking to
You're
you, darling.
welcome,
Thank
no
you very
problem.
much for your time. Bethan, very nice to meet you, darling. Okay, so Bethan, paranormal groups. Have you ever heard of a paranormal group, or what paranormal groups do?
Yeah, they come here all the time, and you know we have little evenings here, and they go up to the graveyard and they hear all the history. You know, stay here all night, have some food, and do all the Ouija boards, and everyone has such a great time.
I don't know whether people have a great time with Ouija boards, but this young lady seems to think that people do. So you know what paranormal groups are, yeah? You know a bit about what they do, yeah? You know the prices they charge?
Around £30.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's free. And groups get, you know, they invite, a lot of groups do a lot of charity events, and they invite, you know, local people and people from far afield to come and to experience a paranormal evening, yeah. But then sometimes they can go to hundreds of pounds, you know. So it does vary, and the difference in location, yeah. If you've seen a full-blown apparition, let's say, stood here right now, if you've seen it yourself and nobody else seen it, would you go and tell anybody?
Yeah, definitely, like especially here, because I think given the history and all the previous like sightings and stuff, that I don't think people would think that you were lying about it.
If somebody told you that they'd seen a ghost or a spirit, would you believe them?
Definitely, yeah.
Is that because you're a believer yourself?
You can't be a believer and then not believe someone else.
Would you join a paranormal group?
I think it'd be a lot of fun, definitely, yeah.
Oh, right.
And I think when you see people here, they get on really well, and because you're like all wanting the same thing, I think that people have that in common.
I'd just like to say thank you very much for joining us, and you can get back to work and we can get out of your way. Thank you very much, darling, okay? Right, Anson, you ready for this walkthrough?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Okay.
Just straight ahead into room 1. I'll just go through it slowly.
What was that?
I'll just go through it slowly.
What was that?
2 knocks. 2 knocks as we walked in. It was
downstairs. It feels quite, I don't know, like quite cosy. This just feels like the air's dead. It's just.
It feels to me like, right, okay, it feels pickly. I feel like I'm walking up and down. The floor seems to be really disorientating. It's alleged that a lady has been in that bath, having a bath, and she felt like something was pressing it and keeping her under the water. Now, I don't know that lady, I don't know the circumstances surrounding why she had that feeling, but come on.
Why not? You tell me, well, you say it doesn't happen, but it has.
No, that's the lady's story. I wasn't here to see that happen. How am I meant to believe that? She's the only lady that's ever had that happen to her. Now, she felt like it was a woman that was holding down as well. Now, the only alleged spirit in this building that is a female is Fanny Price, and she's alleged to be a happy-go-lucky person, not someone that would hold you under
But it
the
doesn't
water.
mean it can't happen. In there, it just felt nothing, but this feels heavier. It feels.
So you're saying compared to room 1, which is not less than 3 feet away, there seems to be an atmosphere change.
There's a definite difference. I feel like I've got itching on the back of my calves.
Is that paranormal?
I don't know, but it's one thing that we always say, that if you're feeling something, or
Yeah,
you
say
think
it.
something,
Say
say,
what you feel.
this is weird. I feel like there's stuff going on here. Something tickling my ear.
You feel like someone tickling your ear, you feel like you're getting a sensation, right? Can I stand there?
Yeah.
Right, can I just stand here and just feel that? I can feel that from here. Right. But let's continue talking. You've got a courtroom, you've got convicts stood in front of a judge. I feel like something just went across my eyebrow, stood here. Now,
in what sense? Sort of?
In sense of like, as though just like the hairs on my eyebrow just stood up. You've just been stood in the same place and felt a tickling sensation of your ear.
What sense that there's not
it doesn't, it tells
us?
me, well, I'll tell you why, because I'm stood here, I'm like a human being, my body, my hairs on my body, all over my body, are reacting to just different changes in temperature. It doesn't mean that it's paranormal. For you to say your ears being tickled, to me is all the crap. The moment I walked through that door, I felt dizzy and I felt sick. And I don't feel that now, but the moment I stepped foot onto them, just stepping down them stairs there, yeah, I felt sick.
So go on, explain that one away as you would do then.
Well, I'll explain it simply with hickledy-pickledy floor, right? The floor is up and down again, like every room up here, right? That mixed with stepping down off the step and coming into a room, yeah, I'd say that all adds up to being something more of my feeling as opposed to paranormal. Something about this room is a little bit, you know.
I feel like it's got a merry room. I just feel like this has always been some sort of people gathering in here.
Speaking with Jeff, and he explained to me a little bit more in detail off camera that this room used to be it's basically made up of panels from a ship.
What springs to my mind then is, it's not necessarily this room that's jovial, it's the fabric that's in this room. The feeling I get is there is going to be that evidence that we will catch, that evidence that will get the skeptics thinking.
Right. Well, there is a different atmosphere. As the night started to draw in, there's a different feel to this place. You think that we're going to have some activity in this building?
Yeah, with the amount of history in this building, that you just feel that it's oozing that sort of history.
Right, if you want to go and get yourself ready for the Vigils, and I'll catch up with you shortly.
Okay, cheers.
Right, see you shortly. Well, there we go. Andy's still very passionate about his belief, and as you can see, I'm still very passionate about being a skeptic. I'll tell you one thing though, there's a strange thing about this place. As the night starts to draw in, you can feel the atmosphere starting to change. Now that's something I've never experienced at any of our previous locations. Is this paranormal? Well, according to people who visit the Skirrid Inn, there's more than just a different atmosphere. Some say more of a supernatural atmosphere. Let's see what supernatural activity we may encounter during our vigils. The dining room is said to be a very unusual place. Many people have reported feeling uneasy on their feet when first entering the room, and are left baffled as to why. Other strange occurrences include tables, chairs, glasses and cutlery being moved by unseen hands while guests are dining. But it is the presence of a ghostly cat that has been heard meowing and purring under the tables that has left diners lost for words. Staff say the cat has been known to brush up against the legs of guests before disappearing into thin air. Here in room 1, eyewitnesses have reported a manner of strange things. Shadows are often seen moving slowly across various parts of the room. Also, a blue and white light has been seen floating above this settee. Other strange phenomena reported over the years have been ice-cold gusts of wind accompanied by a deep, dark laughing. And if all that isn't enough to send shivers down your spine, here in the bathroom people are often left in a state of panic and make a dash for the door after feeling they are being restrained by someone or something. Room 2, often referred to as the old courtroom. This room is said to scare all who enter. Footsteps can often be heard pacing up and down the room. Some say they are that of the hanging judges, waiting impatiently for the next prisoner they will be sending to the rope. Even after 10 years of running the Skirrid Inn, owner Jeff Fiddler still refuses to enter the room alone. Is he just stretching his imagination too far? Or can he sense the judge's hangman waiting to drag yet another prisoner to the rope of death? Room 3 is said to be haunted by the spirit of Fanny Price, one of the inn's 18th century landladies. Miss Price has been seen all over the building, but it is room 3 where she is seen the most. Many people say you know when the spirit of Fanny Price is in the room due to a rapid drop in temperature. The room is said to be filled with mixed emotions, so it will be interesting to see what awaits the Third Eye team later. Many of the locals, young and old, who visit the Skirrid Inn have seen and heard many strange things in the bar. A young boy was left startled and crying to his mum. When asked why he was crying, he said he'd seen a boy covered in black dust climbing up the chimney. Was this just a figment of the young boy's imagination, or yet another spirit of the Skirrid Inn? With further reports of whispering spirits, exploding glasses and many other mysterious noises heard in the bar, will the Third Eye team encounter any paranormal activity in this area during the vigils? With its dark staircase, hanging rope, prisoner's cell and many other supernatural stories from staff and guests, this is one supernatural skeptic versus believer battle not to be missed. This investigation will take you on a journey into the paranormal like no other. At the end of tonight's vigils, will Anthony still believe and will I still be a skeptic? We'll also want your opinion as the viewer. Will your mind be changed by what you're about to see, feel or hear? You can send us an email to thirdeyeinvestigations@live.co.uk telling us your stories, telling us how you feel about this place this evening. Now, they say life's too short. Or is it?
Do something, please.
Is there anybody out in the corridor? Whoa, 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 shh, stop.
Can you do that again? Something has just walked across the back of me.
I'm here to look for answers.
I looked down into that corner and I saw an orb.
It doesn't smell like lavender, isn't it? I'm not going to say it smells like...
I walked through this area how many times? I feel like I can hardly walk.
Can you tap on the bath? I have got the coldest feeling in this room ever.
And there was an orb at the bottom of the screen by your feet.
This place does get to you.
Come on, this is it now. This is the way to do it. What was that?
First vigil, Skirrid Inn. We're in the dining room. The views are on. We'll have seen us in this room just earlier. Now, there we have a window, so if we get any cars go past, could be a reflection, yeah? I'll tell you what, when I'm looking over this camera, it is absolutely pitch black.
Yeah. That was possibly the fireplace.
Yeah, so the fireplace is crackling, yeah, in the background.
We've been to numerous locations. I can't recall it being this dark.
Okay, well let's call out. If there's a female in here by the name of Fanny Price or any other spirits, can you make yourself known in this area, please? I'm just gonna try this.
What?
I'm just gonna try this.
What? Okay, if that was you made that noise, that click, can you show yourself in the form of a light? Something has just walked across the back of me.
Right, well look, that door's open. Could that have been a draft? Could that have...
That's over there.
Shh, stop. Could that have...
That's over there.
Shh, stop. Right, I just heard a knock over there, like a knock, right. You stood next to a door, you feel like someone's walking behind you.
Alright, so let's shut the door. Shut. I'm gonna go for the cat thing.
Look, stop, what was that?
That was my knees.
No, that was a click.
Yeah, that was my knees.
I heard a rumble. When you said cat, I heard a... Look, stop. Look, stop. Right. I don't know whether the camera would have picked up, but listen, I heard that right here, right in this area here.
You can't talk to a cat like you would.
You can call a cat. You can call a cat. So you're feeling like there's an animal connection?
Not necessarily, but it's one of those things where it's something that has allegedly been reported and witnessed or experienced, so why not just try it?
I want to call the owner of that cat. A cat wouldn't just be in this building without its owner. Surely if there's a cat in this area, there must be an owner. But
there was something in that corner.
There seems to be something going on in that corner every time, so let's let's get to this torch. Okay, there we go, central heating. That's that central heating been on. Oh shit, as I've just gone forward, something just gone like swoosh right past me. Just as I lean forward now, that is obviously the wind of me leaning forward, of course, must be.
I looked down into that corner and I saw an orb. First, literally just...
You're telling me you're seeing orbs in this pitch black room with your naked eye?
A little white light that just moves slightly up. I would just say focus on that bench. So if there's anybody here, can you make yourself known?
See, I've been light, I've been calm, I've been, you know, but I'm now getting a little bit peed off. Things are just not working out for you as a believer.
If you put all the evidence and any sort of footage that's been captured or anything like that, and you put it all together, you would have that wow factor.
I, as a skeptic, I've got to tell you now, right, I'm not here to look for the wow factor, I'm here to look for answers, right? I am added up to there where so many people are saying, it's a ghost, it's a spirit, it's the spirit of a living human being, someone who's lived and been here is still here. Why are people thinking that is the case, right? Why cannot people just accept that we live, we die, and we've got to enjoy what's happening in the now? If so many people are thinking that when we die, we go to somewhere else, how the heck can you enjoy this life to its full potential?
There's nothing saying that we're not enjoying the here and now, but that, to me, is like saying there's no reason to go out and explore.
So go on, you just
right,
say what you just...
Yeah, I've just walked through and I've just smelt. I can still smell it now, it's like a joss stick.
Yeah.
It's that kind of smell.
What sort of scent would you put to that?
Well, I would just say that's a smell. I would say we're you know, by all means in an area where there's going to be smells like that, undoubtedly. That is going to happen.
That's pretty, that's a distinctive smell.
Well, it may be, but it's a smell of like a lavender kind of smell, like a...
Right, and that is exactly what I was waiting for you to say.
Oh, was it?
Because
so do you think, well, obviously if I smell lavender, it's going to smell like lavender, isn't it? I'm not going to say it smells like...
And what has been...
Anything good then?
What have other people said throughout today from this building? No. What
it does not mean that it's paranormal, because it's
right,
a smell of lavender.
Right, just two people that have lived in this building for 10 years.
Yeah.
We interviewed earlier on.
Yeah.
What was the smell that both of them said?
Okay, it will have been lavender. I understand that, but let me tell you.
So why have you, how can you explain that you have just said that smells like lavender?
The ladies who were working behind the bar earlier might have sprayed a little bit of it. Right, we've not noticed it before.
Have you smelled it since?
No. Well, yeah, I can still smell it now.
Well, you can smell it now, but
yeah.
you didn't. We walked through this area how many times?
I wouldn't say it as a ghostly smell. Anybody that's been to this building, if you smell lavender, believe me, there is lavender somewhere in here. It's not just come and appeared from nowhere. Let's move on, because I think we're going too much on smells, and let's go on facts.
Well, let's go and find something else that you can dismiss.
It's like everything stops. You walk in, and even when you...
Shh. There's something laughing. Shh. There's something laughing. Shh. Is there a spirit out in that corridor? Is there anybody out in the corridor? Right, do you know what I heard then?
What?
I've just heard what sounds to me like someone going... This couch here, yeah?
Yeah.
Is where the alleged white lady was seen by Hannah James. Hannah said that she'd seen a white lady, or a silhouette of a white lady, on that settee. If there's a lady in white in this room, You have a skeptic who does not believe in you. I do not believe in you. You do not exist unless you show me otherwise. Human beings are a seeing is believing kind of race. Can you show us something that may make us believe? Is there any female spirits in this building? Anybody at all? Female, male, any kind of spirit at all? Are we asking for the wrong kind of thing here? Are you some kind of being that is not a human being?
Oh.
A human being.
Oh, I've got an orb that has just gone across the bottom of this screen, just as I've panned down the side of the bed.
It seemed to be when I said, are you some kind of being?
Can you do that again, but up the screen?
Let's take a walk into the bathroom. So, have you got your torch?
I feel like I can hardly walk.
Isn't that strange? Because, do you know, the moment you said that, I feel like something's on my legs. I feel like my legs are being weighed down.
If there is somebody here with us, can you make yourself known to us in any way you want? Did you push?
Shh. 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 I keep hearing things. I don't know what the bloody hell they are.
Did you push or hold a lady down in this bath?
Can you tap on the bath? Where's the bath?
It's... Tap on something, tap out on anything.
Shit.
What? What did you...
I've just heard a tap on that bath.
If somebody made a tap on that bath, can you do it again?
Right, let me tell you this now. If that is right, what I've just heard, I've just got that on this camera. I've just heard like the bath just chink. But saying that, we've just left that area pretty quick. So, I'll tell you what, Tom, I feel like there's something on my feet or around my feet. Where's my feet? And I feel like it's like a cold density. Whoa, shit, shh, stop. Whoa, shit, shh, stop. Excuse my language, but hold on. That's twice that cut me, that jumped me though, because that was sort of like right in that area there. That has made me jump.
This is the room that I felt like we would possibly get the biggest response, because I just felt like something was toying with us earlier. If Mrs. Price is here with us, can you go and sit next to Fran on the couch?
Right here. Come and sit here. Anthony's decided to move, so he's got a better view of a spirit sat next to me on a couch. Not happening. Unfortunately,
right,
for
come
all
on.
the believers out there, that isn't happening.
If you're here with us, go and sit next to Fran. And to Fran. And there was an orb at the bottom of the screen by your feet.
Okay.
Again. Right, okay, so you are here. I believe that you're here. Can you do that again? Can you show yourself to the left hand side of that couch? Were you the executioner that led them from here to be executed? It's like something has just stroked my forearm, just as if it's just like that.
What's that noise? Drums. Sound like drums. I have got the coldest feeling in this room ever. This has got to be.
Was this Fanny Price's room?
Allegedly. The lady Fanny Price, if you're here, Miss Price or Mrs. Price, this is your room. We believe this is the area that you would have stayed in. Are you allowing us into this room?
If you're here with us, Fanny.
Anthony, we can't put that on as a fucking straight face because the fucking whole country will just.
I do feel a bit of a plank saying it, like, every time.
Oh.
Can you talk to me, Fanny?
Be careful what you wish. That's exactly how she talks. Was that you, Fanny?
Was that you? Yeah.
Oh, my stomach's aching after that.
I've got tears.
Oh, that's unbelievable. Let's get back on this, right? Do you know what? We've just burst out into a fit of laughter. Okay, now we may be childish because we are men, so we're classed as being childish, aren't we? But what I want to say is the name Fanny. Now, you know, we're having a bit of a laugh about it, but do you feel like, I feel like we're in a good mood here. We've come into this room, it feels ice cold, you know, it's bone chilling cold, but we've lightened up. We feel like, you know, the
like
laughter is just uncontrollably, yeah. Just finished our first vigil, been a long vigil, been right throughout all the rooms. The only area we haven't done yet is the bar area, which we're going to do on our next vigil, yeah?
Yeah.
And then we're going to do a couple of long vigils, okay? Talk to me about the dining room.
It was quiet, but it's like we were saying that we didn't expect it to be that black instantly. It was just banged out.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. It was like an ultimate squeeze your eyes shut kind of darkness, wasn't it? Yeah. Obviously the viewers at home can't see that because they can obviously see the infrared.
But then once we moved past that, in the rooms it didn't feel like that. It wasn't as black.
Is that because our eyes adjusted then?
It could have been just our eyes were adjusting.
Okay, tell me this. I don't think there's anything paranormal going on here. Apart from the smell of lavender as we come out of the dining room, right?
Which you dismissed again.
Well, I'm going to dismiss it because it's a smell. It smells. I'm not associating smells with the paranormal. Where do you connect the smell with the spirit? That's delusional to think that's such a thing.
It's not delusional.
Well, it is to think that a smell can come through with the spirits.
There's a lot of people. There's hundreds and thousands of people out there that will be able to relate to that.
Why do so many people who come here? They come into this building and they have all kinds going on. Is it because they're doing the table tilting? Is it because they are using various different devices?
There are groups that come here that don't experience as much as other groups. It's not just something that will happen every time because somebody's here filming or doing an investigation. My perspective is that spirits, ghosts, anything like that is a form of energy. So it can't run on full capacity all the time.
I want to go to room 3, right? We burst out in a fit of laughter.
On our investigations, we've not laughed like that
ever
before.
No,
Full
and
stop.
that's
There's
why
no-
that's why I'm trying to figure out. Okay, it was prompted by a silly thing that we said, but it was uncontrollable laughter in the dark.
Yeah.
In the dark, it's that environment. It scares me to think that I was laughing. It's just not the norm for people to do that. But when people are on paranormal investigations, they burst into fits of laughter.
Yeah.
Why do
you go through the emotions? It's not always just negative. There's a lot of spirits that can affect you in a positive way, or you get the vibes from them. It's not a bad thing.
If anything's just listening to us, you're just observing, you don't want to show yourself, are we being arrogant? Is there something that we're doing that is making you refuse to make contact with us? We're not going to refer to lifting tables and moving tables or moving glasses around the tables and stuff like that. You know, you're an energy, you're here. You've shown yourself on various occasions to various different people. Can't you just show us some form of light, make some kind of sound within this room or within any of the rooms on this lower level here now to give us an idea? Just, you know, something that we can probably brush off as being something just natural. Just natural.
What was that? There was something through there.
Well, let's go.
Right.
What did you hear?
It was like a scraping sort of sound in a way.
But unless that happens again, which I know for a fact won't happen again, if there's a spirit in here, in anywhere, you've just made that noise, do it again.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
This place does get to you, but it's not a paranormal feeling. It's more of your own feeling saying, you know, the lights are out. There's noises going on around me, but it's noises that can be dismissed.
There are things that are going on. They're not massive statements, but there is something going on.
Right. Okay. So do you think us as human beings should keep on the search and keep looking for these spirits?
Absolutely.
Right. Do you think ultimately one day there's going to be a connection?
There will be something that happens, because it will lead to that, whether it's the more we learn, the more that we can actually sort of find out and discover, then the more it's going to close that gap between our existence and the existence of spirits, ghosts.
So you're saying we're going to live forever?
Potentially. It's not so much as living forever, it's just living...
Well, it is, because if you come back as the spirit of Anthony Keeling, who you are in the physical, then you live forever.
Then that's a... Yeah, in a way, if you want to put it that way, then yeah.
Do I believe there's any paranormal activity going on here this evening? No, not whatsoever. You know, I'm here to fight my case for the Sceptics, and I'm telling you now that this place don't seem to be active to me.
It's been something which I believe has been an eventful night. To be honest, I think Fran has pissed me off in a way. As do Sceptics, for some reason, tend to dismiss everything. Now I think that you're here with me, and I'm willing to bet that you will show yourself for me to be able to show that evidence that you exist. Can you show yourself on camera for me? Oh, I think I've got an orb just going over the top of the couch. Orb just going over the top of the couch. So that was you just showed yourself on camera there. Can you do it again?
It all boils down to is there any spirits in any of the locations that we've investigated? Now, ultimately, our believer guests are all going to say yes, there is. And yes, they've experienced an awful lot. But to me, and to my skeptic guests, I'm sure we're going to have the answers. We are going to have all the answers for the believers. Right, okay. We'll go off your camera then. I will switch my camera down. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, hold on. I think I was just about to switch my camera off and I've seen some kind of light floating through that door up in the ceiling. Now, it could have been a reflection off your camera. So,
Oh, hold on a second. I thought I saw something then.
No, you're pointing down, I'm pointing up towards the top of the door. You pointing down into the room.
Well, no.
Right, okay, let's have a little test of this, right?
Both cameras.
Yeah, both cameras in the same direction, same kind of thing, right? So there we go, through there, right?
Yeah.
If there's any spirits in room 3, can you please show yourself so both myself and Anthony can see you?
Come on, this is it now. This is the way to do it. Show us a light.
I've heard the stories of skeptics changing from skeptics to believers in here. Now, I'm really going to say that I can't see that happening. I and the viewers know that I am a 100% skeptic, and this Skirrid Inn and all our past locations, and not one of them have turned me into any kind of a believer whatsoever.
I think things have happened. No massive gestures, but again, I can look at the bigger picture, and it is a place that I would definitely love to come back to, given the opportunity. Myself
personally, I haven't experienced anything that I can say it's paranormal and ultimately is going to change me as a skeptic. But Anthony, you're going to say that this investigation has still been interesting, it's still been
oh yeah, by far it's one of the oldest sort of buildings that we've been to, and yeah. I think that there is a lot of potential here, and there has been activity.
Definitely. Yeah. This whole investigation has been very different without our public guests. You know, we ultimately depend on our public guests. We're here to guide you guys, so we need you back. So, you know, we've got definitely a second series coming soon, so you guys are definitely going to be given a chance to join us, and that will be a question that you'll be asked in our final episode, so make sure you tune in for that. Now, Anthony, as ever, we will crack on, right, and it's been really a really good investigation again, yeah? Yeah. So, there we go, Third Eye Paranormal Investigations, episode 5 is complete. Are you ready to join us?